share, subscribe.
You ever wonder what it really means to work the night shift? I'm not talking about the weird hours or the exhaustion that burrows into your bones. I'm talking about the silence, the stillness, the way the world feels. Wrong when everyone else is asleep. There's something about the night that strips away the noise, and what's left behind is too real, too raw. It's like the shadows are watching, waiting, whispering things you're not supposed to hear. Most people think night shifts are quiet, boring, lonely, maybe. But for those of us who've lived through them, we know better. Some things only come out after dark. Some truths only reveal themselves when you're too tired to pretend you're not afraid. And once you see those truths, once they see you, there's no going back. So, if you're hearing this, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to tell you the truth, not because I want to, but because I have to. This isn't a gift. It's a warning. What would you do if something innocent, something completely ordinary, turned out to be the doorway to something unimaginable? Would you ignore it? Or would you, like me, find out far too late what it really was? Now, before we begin, I need you to do something. For me, if you've ever had a night that didn't feel quite right, if you've ever seen something out the corner of your eye while the world was asleep, hit the like button. Subscribe to help us reach 10,000 souls just like you. We noticed 98% viewers didn't subscribe. Your subscription means us a lot, and share your thoughts or your own creepy night shift stories in the comments. This is Whisper and Wonders, and these are the night shift horror stories. I used to think night shifts were a blessing. No managers breathing down your neck, no customers, just peace, silence, and maybe a coffee or two to get you through the hours. I worked the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift at a 24-hour warehouse in a small, quiet suburb called Grayson Pines. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid well, and the solitude suited me. That was before the radio. You wouldn't think something as old and dusty as a radio could change your life, ruin it, really. But I swear to you, what I'm about to tell you happened. And I need you to hear it. It started on a Tuesday night. I remember because that's when Jenna quit. She used to handle the overnight orders with me, but after that night, I was alone. I didn't mind. The silence was a kind of comfort. About halfway through my shift, I took my usual break in the upstairs room. We called it the break room, but it was really just a repurposed office with a couch, a microwave, and an old radio someone had left behind years ago. It was one of those bulky things with knobs instead of buttons. Dusty, a little dented on the side. It hadn't worked in ages, except that night. It turned on by itself. I was sitting there, sipping coffee, half asleep, when a sudden crackle burst from the corner. I nearly spilled my cup. The radio's dial lit up faint orange glow, like something breathing in the dark, and this static filled the room. I tried to turn it off, but the knobs were stuck. Then, through the static, I heard a voice, not a DJ, not music, a whisper. At first, I thought it was just interference. You know how radios pick up weird frequencies sometimes? But this was different. The voice wasn't talking to anyone. It was talking to me. You left the door open. I froze. I turned around. Nothing. I looked at the radio again. The static stopped. I told myself I imagined it. Maybe I was tired. Maybe it was stress. But the next night, it happened again. Same time, same room. The radio crackled to life and spoke. Don't look outside. I hadn't planned to. But the moment it said that, something in me had to. Like it planted the thought in my brain. I walked to the window and peeled back the blinds. There was nothing but the parking lot. dimly lit by flickering sodium lights. Empty. Still. But then I noticed something. One of the cars had its headlights on. I was the only one working, and I didn't drive that model. I blinked and the lights were off. I didn't finish my coffee that night. Over the next few days, the messages got more personal, more intrusive. The voice would speak my name, repeat memories I hadn't thought about in years. It told me about a dream I had when I was 6. It told me what my mother whispered when she thought I was asleep. It wasn't just a voice. It knew me. And it wanted something. By the 5th night, I stopped going to the break room. I brought my coffee downstairs, stayed by the loading dock, and blasted music on my phone to drown out the silence. But it didn't matter. That night, the radio turned on downstairs, right next to me. The voice was clearer than ever. Let me in. I backed away. The room felt colder. I could see my breath. My heart was pounding in my ears. I unplugged the radio. It kept talking. Threw it to the floor. It kept talking. I took it out back, smashed it with a wrench, threw the pieces in the dumpster. The warehouse felt quiet again. For 1 hour. Then I heard the static again. But not from a radio, from the intercom, the one we used to call in shipments. Why did you stop listening? The lights flickered. The walls felt like they were vibrating with a low hum, like the building itself was breathing. I grabbed my coat, ran out, drove home. I didn't go back the next night, or the night after. I told my manager I had a family emergency. Then I quit. But the voice didn't stop. It followed me home. Now, every night around 2:17 a.m. same time. The radio first turned on. I hear that static. Sometimes through my phone. Sometimes my TV. Once, in my sleep. Told me something a few nights ago. And I haven't slept since. You let me in. I don't know what I invited into my life. I don't know if it's a ghost or something older, something worse. But I know this. That radio wasn't just a machine. It was a key, and I turned it. Let me know if you're ready for the second story in the comments, because this is only the beginning. People think loneliness is a feeling, but it's not. It's a place. And if you stay there long enough, it becomes home. That's what the night shift was for me. A kind of solitude I could hide inside. I worked as a janitor at a small private hospital. Graveyard shift. Midnight to 8 a.m. My world shrank down to long, quiet corridors and the low hum of fluorescent lights. I preferred it that way. Until I found the key. It was wedged under one of the vending machines in the break room. Just a small brass thing. Worn smooth. Probably dropped by a technician or delivery guy. Should have left it alone. But I didn't. There was something about it, something wrong. The second I touched it, I felt this sharp, static tingle shoot through my hand, like a sudden jolt of cold. I pulled back, expecting a shock burn or something, but there was nothing. Just that little key sitting there in my palm. Warm now. That night, the vending machine lit up on its own. All the rows started scrolling. Chips, candy bars, soda just spinning endlessly, like the machine was shuffling through its guts, trying to decide what to give. I watched, frozen, as the lights flickered. And then it stopped. One item dropped into the tray. A white envelope. Kid you not. I walked over, reached in, and pulled it out. No logo. No markings. Just one word on the front, handwritten in perfect block letters. Don't. I opened it. Inside was a photo. Black and white. Grainy. It was me. Standing in the hospital hallway. My back turned. But I recognized the mop bucket and the crooked poster on the wall beside me. It was taken tonight. I stood there for a long time, just holding it, staring. Then I heard the click behind me, Dot, the vending machine turned off. That should have been the end. I should have reported it, tossed the key, done anything but what I did next. But curiosity, it's not a weakness. It's a trap. And I fell right in. The next night, I used the key again. I told myself it was just to test it, just to know. But that was a lie. Another envelope dropped. This time, it wasn't a photo. It was a page ripped from a journal. It looked old. The ink had bled into the paper, but I could still read it. He walks at 3:33. Doesn't use the stairs. Don't watch the cameras. Don't blink too long. He'll get inside the gaps. That was it. No signature. I checked the timestamp on the hospital monitors that night. At exactly 3:33 a.m., all the hallway cameras fuzzed out for 3 seconds. Just 3. But when they came back, my mop bucket was 10 feet down the hall. I hadn't moved it. I swear. From that moment, I started seeing shadows in the corners places I'd already cleaned. Movements that didn't match my own. Reflections that stared too long. Every night, a new envelope. One had a hairpin that matched the one a nurse lost weeks ago. She'd been in a car accident the night after her last shift. One had a child's drawing of a room with no doors. And a face in the wall. One had a piece of my uniform shirt. Torn, bloody, folded neat. I stopped sleeping, stopped eating. My hands shook all the time. I kept the envelopes in a shoebox under my bed, like they might explain something. They didn't. They warned. And I ignored every one. It wasn't just the envelopes either. That vending machine, it knew things. Sometimes it didn't dispense anything, just lit up with a message on the screen. You weren't supposed to take the key. He's seen you now. Return it before the 7th night. But there wasn't anyone to return it to. I searched the entire hospital for who serviced the machines. I even called the number on the side. It rang to a disconnected line. The machine didn't even have a manufacturer logo. That was when I realized it didn't belong there. None of this did. And by night 5, I started seeing him. Always in the distance. Just far enough to be uncertain. A shape too tall standing under the flickering hallway lights. I'd blink and he'd be gone. Or closer. I started talking to myself, telling myself it was stress, sleep deprivation, delirium. But then the messages changed. 6th night. Prepare. He wants your place. That night, the intercom buzzed. No one ever used it after hours. Not even the doctors. And then I heard my voice, calling my name, telling me to come to the break room. I did. I don't know why. I think I was ready for it. Tired. Done. The vending machine lit up the moment I stepped in. And without using the key, it dispensed one final item. A small blank ID badged out my photo, my name. But the uniform was different, clean, new, pressed. And I was smiling. I've never smiled like that. Not in years. Behind me, I heard a footstep, and I ran. I didn't finish the shift. I never went back. I've moved 3 times since then. Threw the key in a lake. But sometimes, I still wake up at 3:33, and my phone is lit up. One new notification. Thank you for your shift. Sometimes, I see a man outside convenience stores, staring at vending machines like they're whispering to him. I wonder if he found a key too, or maybe he's still waiting for me to come back. You ever hear a voice say your name, and know for certain it isn't meant to be heard by anyone else? Not like a person saying it, not even like a whisper. More like the voice is inside your bones. Yeah, that's how it started for me. I worked night security at a daycare center. Sounds weird, I know. But the building had been broken into a few months back, and the owner wanted someone on site overnight. Nothing big. Just check the doors, walk the halls every hour, log incidents, then drink bad coffee and scroll on my phone. It was the easiest job I ever had. Until I found the bear. It was on the third night. Around 2 a.m., I was walking the west hallway, what we called the playroom wing. It had these cheerful murals on the walls. Big sunflowers, smiling clouds, alphabet animals. Honestly, it was kind of creepy at night, especially with the lights off. I just done my round and was heading back to the office when I saw it. A teddy bear sitting in the middle of the hallway. Brown fur. Button eyes. Red Bodie. Clean. It hadn't been there before. Now look, I know kids leave stuff behind, but the teachers always cleaned the rooms before closing. And this bear wasn't near a classroom door. It was dead center in the hallway, like someone had placed it there deliberately. I walked over to pick it up. That's when it spoke. Hello. My name. Let's play. I dropped it so fast it hit the floor face first. It wasn't one of those recordable toys. No visible speaker. No tags. Nothing. And it said my name, my actual name, not buddy or friend like most toys do. I stared at it for a while. Didn't touch it again. Just backed away, went to the office, and locked the door. I told myself someone was playing a trick on me. Maybe the owner left it, rigged it somehow. Maybe it had voice recognition. I even Googled that, turns out. Some toys do respond to names, but none of them sounded like this bear did. The voice was wrong. Too slow. Too aware, like it was trying to figure me out while it talked. The next night, it was gone from the hallway, but it was waiting for me on the office chair, facing the door. Bodie, perfectly straight. This time, it didn't speak. Not at. First, I put it in a storage closet and locked the door. Not 5 minutes later, the lights in the building dimmed. The hallway camera feeds flickered. And from the monitor, I saw the door to the closet slowly open. No one was there, but the bear was gone. Found it in room 3 circle time. Room sitting in the middle of the floor with the building blocks arranged around it. The blocks spelled something, I don't like the dark. That was when I realized the bear didn't just move. It remembered, and it wanted me to know. Each night, it got more aggressive. It started showing up in stranger places. Inside the staff fridge, in the restroom stall, on top of my car when I went to check the back lot. It would say things in that syrupy voice, things no toy should know. Why don't you talk to your brother anymore? You cried when you married him, remember? Did it feel like your fault? I hadn't told anyone about my brother. Not at work. Not in years. And yet this toy knew. One night, I snapped. I grabbed the bear, stuffed it into a garbage bag, and threw it into the dumpster behind the building. I didn't care if I got fired. An hour later, I got a call on the office. Line. The number was blocked. I hesitated, then picked up. Static. Then. You don't throw away your friends. The power cut out. Every screen in the daycare went black, except the hallway monitors. They turned on, showing every room at once. And in each one, the bear. Dozens of it. Every toy in the building, every stuffed animal, doll, plastic figurehead, transformed into the same bear. Identical. Same red Bodie. Same button eyes. Every single one staring into the camera. I couldn't breathe. My chest felt like it was caving in. I ran. Didn't even grab my things. Just left the building and didn't look back. The next morning, I tried to tell the owner. She laughed. Said it was probably stress. But when I insisted, when I described the bear, her face changed. She got quiet. Then she said something that still chills me. That bear was discontinued after a recall. Back in 1999, they said it. Frightened. Kids claimed it talked to them when it was off. That it asked questions about their parents. And one little boy, Went missing the night he brought it home. They never found the boy, just the bear, sitting at the foot of his bed. She swore they never had that model in the daycare, that they couldn't, no one manufactures it anymore. I quit the next day. I still see that bear sometimes dot in reflections. Store windows. Kids' birthday parties I pass on the street, dot always watching, dot waiting, dot, and sometimes, late at night, I hear its voice in the static of my phone. It's still dark in here. Let me out. Time has a rhythm, a soft pulse behind every moment. You don't notice it until something breaks it. I didn't believe in fate or curses or omens. I believed in habits, in routines. That's why the night shift fit me so well. I worked as a patient transporter in a small suburban hospital, moving people from room to room, lab to surgery, recovery, back to the ward. Quiet work, isolated. I liked the silence. I wasn't close to anyone, not since my divorce. The night shift made that easier. No birthdays, no awkward conversations, no eyes watching me live halfway through a life I hadn't planned. I don't even remember how I got the watch, dot. It was just there. One night in my locker, dot. Simple, elegant, black leather strap, stainless steel face. Minimalist design, just one. Hand sweeping the dial. It looked expensive. I figured someone left it behind or mixed up lockers. But it fit my wrist perfectly. The strange part? It ticked backwards, not like a broken watch. The second hand didn't twitch or glitch. It flowed. Smoothly, elegantly, but in reverse. Time unwinding. I laughed it off. Probably some artsy, custom piece. I wore it anyway. Kind of liked it. Like I was always buying back time I'd already lost. But then things started to feel off. The first night I wore it, I passed a patient. I'd just transported to radiology, but he was already back in his room. Hours before the scan should have ended. The next night, I saw a nurse walking toward me in the hall, eyes tired, coffee in hand, and then saw her again. A few moments later, coming from the opposite direction, dot. Same expression, same coffee, same everything. But this time, she didn't see me, dot. It was like I wasn't there, dot. I started noticing more glitches. Conversations I remembered before they happened. Pages over the intercom that hadn't gone out yet. Alarms going off, then going silent, then starting again in reverse. The more I wore the watch, the worse it got. Reality began to fold in on itself. People's movements felt looped. Some moments played twice. Some not at all, dot. It was like the world was rewinding. Like I was the only one still conscious while everything else unspooled itself. One night, around 4 a.m., I took the watch off, and everything stopped. The world snapped back to normal. Time moved forward again. Conversations felt right. My hands stopped shaking, dot, so I left the watch in my locker. I thought that was it. But the next night, I found it back on my wrist, strapped tight. I don't know how it got there. I hadn't touched it, but my skin underneath the strap was red like it had never left, like it had been growing there. I tried throwing it away, burning it, freezing it, dot. Nothing worked, dot. And then the dream started. Always the same. I'm walking backward through the hospital. Hallways collapse into themselves. Machines hum in reverse. Nurses scream in silence. Mouths moving before their terror starts, dot. At the end of the dream, I reach the morgue, dot. And in the last frame, I see myself on a gurney. Eyes open, dot. Smiling, dot. I started losing time in real life, too. One moment I'm wheeling a patient down the west corridor. Next, I'm sitting in the break room, hands shaking, unsure how I got there. Hours gone. Conversations forgotten, dot. Coworkers started avoiding me, whispering. Someone filed an anonymous report, said I was unsettling, detached. I was pulled into HR. They showed me footage from the last few nights. Except, I wasn't in them. The cameras had no record of me walking the halls. No footage of me clocking in or out. One nurse even claimed she hadn't seen me in weeks. But my log sheet was filled out. Every night. In my handwriting. And every page was dated one day in the future. I stopped sleeping. The watch was still ticking backward. Its hand was faster now. It was approaching something, counting down. And then I started seeing him. Myself. But younger. Walking the halls, taking calls, laughing with nurses I barely remembered. He didn't see me. No one did. I was just a shadow, pacing the same corridors I'd walked 1,000 times, watching my past unfold in real time. And then I saw the moment, the origin point. The day my wife left me. The phone call I ignored. The patient I neglected because I was too tired to care. I watched myself make the wrong choice. Again, and again, and again. The watch ticked faster. I couldn't stop it. And then the final rewind happened. I woke up one night in the hospital basement, alone, cold, the lights flickering. On the gurney beside me, myself. Older. Eyes wide. Watch still ticking. My fingers twitched once, then stopped. I understood. The watch doesn't count time. It erases it. Every backward second is one. I'll never get back. It's not just counting down my life. It's rewriting it. I don't know where I am now, who I am. All I know is the world around me is hollow, thin, like a memory about to fade. Sometimes I catch glimpses of a future that doesn't belong to me. Other times, I see nothing at all. Just a ticking watch, still counting backward. And I think, if time can forget me, what's left? This one ties it all together. It's about a mirror, and what happens when it doesn't show you your reflection, but someone else's future. Are you ready? You've come this far. And now, there's only one story left. This is story 5 of Night Shift Horror Stories, told for whisper and wonders. Each tale has carried us deeper into that sleepless realm between reality and something else, something lurking, familiar, watching. And now, a final object emerges. The last key. Mirror. But not a mirror that shows your reflection. This one shows you something far worse. There's something about seeing yourself at 3 a.m. under hospital lights. Eyes bloodshot, face hollow, a week's worth of exhaustion in your bones. It's not you in the mirror, not really. Just some version of you that the night brings out. Used to laugh at those thoughts. Now, I don't sleep near mirrors. I used to work janitorial night shift at a suburban rehab center. Small, quiet place. Formerly a private school, converted into a residential care unit. Mostly elderly patients. Some memory issues, some just recovering. It wasn't hard work. Mopping, trash collection, keeping the common areas clean. But there was one hallway, Hall B, that always felt different, long, too quiet. No patients assigned to it. They said it was under renovation. But I never saw any signs of work. At the end of that hall was a room we weren't supposed to enter. Room 6B. No plaque. No keycard access. Just a door. And a mirror across from it. Full length, tall, ornate frame. Too fancy for a rehab center. Looked antique, like something from a Victorian house. Every time I passed it, I felt wrong. Like I'd see something move. Out the corner of my eye. One night, during a routine cleanup, I noticed the mirror fogged over. That was strange. There was no one around. No temperature change. No heat or breath or anything that could have caused it. But in the fog, there were handprints from the inside. I stared at them. Small palms. pressed hard, fingers curled slightly, like whoever or whatever was behind. The glass had been watching, or trying to get out. I looked around. The hallway was dead silent. Then I looked again, and that's when I saw him. He was standing in the mirror behind me. A tall figure, dressed like me, exactly like me, same shirt. Same ID badge, same mop in his hand, but his face wasn't mine. Not quite . It was stretched, off, like someone had reconstructed my features from memory, but got tired. Halfway through, his smile was too wide. His eyes didn't blink. I turned. Around nothing there, just empty hallway. When I looked back, he was gone from the mirror too. I told myself it was stress, bad lighting, fatigue, but the next night, he came back. Every time I passed the mirror, there he was, closer, more distinct. I'd wipe the glass, try to clear it, but the moment I looked away, the handprints would return. Sometimes I'd see 2 of him. Sometimes he'd wave. And one time, he mouthed something. I see you. I stopped walking that hallway, told my supervisor I'd clean everything except 6B. She gave me a look, said there was no room 6B, that the hallway was sealed. Years ago. But that was a lie. I knew what I saw. I knew what I felt. One night, I made the mistake of looking too long. I don't know why I did it. Maybe I was tired of pretending it wasn't real. I stood in front of the mirror and stared into it for minutes, and slowly, the reflection began to shift. Behind the mirror man, the hallway darkened. Walls peeled, the floor cracked. Lights flickered until everything was bathed in shadow. But he stood in full clarity, like that world was more real than mine. Then he moved closer, pressed his face to the glass, and whispered, though I heard it in my head, not my ears, "You've taken my life. Now give me yours." I stepped back. The mirror began to vibrate, glass warping, cracking inward like something behind it was pushing to escape. And then, just as fast, it stopped. Everything returned to normal. No cracks, no sound, no shadowed world. But my reflection was gone. I looked into the mirror and saw only the hallway behind me. No mop, no ID, no me. Just emptiness. That's when I understood he hadn't broken out. I had been pulled in. The mirror man. He was living my life now. I walked through the rest of the night shift like I didn't exist. No one saw me. No one responded to my voice. Cameras showed nothing when I walked past. I was erased. But he was still here. Living. I watched him from behind the glass. Watched him mop floors, sip coffee, chat with coworkers, smile with my mouth, wear my uniform like I never existed. And sometimes, when he's alone, he stares into the mirror again, and he smiles at me. Not with kindness, not with regret, but with hunger. Because there are more of us in here now. More forgotten reflections, more people who stared too long. He's collecting us. One by one, and I'm afraid, not that I'm stuck here, but that you might be next. Before we end tonight, if you made it through all 5 of these stories, thank you. And if they made you feel anything, a chill, a memory, that twinge of fear when you pass a dark window, then take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Whisper and Wonders as we get closer to 10,000 brave souls, and comment your thoughts or your own strange experiences with the night shift, or the things you wish you hadn't kept. After all, some stories don't end. They just wait for someone else to listen. Good night. And don't look in the mirror too long.
Thanks for watching.